Good afternoon, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praise to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray that the Most High blesses this lesson today and gives us more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past. Open up our eyes to the events that are currently happening on the earth in order to get a better understanding of the events that are soon to come on the earth. Going to get into little bit of Deuteronomy 28 and 68 today. Been hearing, it's been on my spirit. I've actually been studying a little bit the last few days, and without even knowing it, Brother Elder Ayal, he actually went into it also about the Deuteronomy 28:68. So it just shows you that the Spirit's been working with both of us, guiding us under the same topic at the same time. And it's just amazing because what you got to understand is that we've been lied to about everything, and even the interpretations of our own book have been given to us by Gentiles. And when the Most High sends the Holy Spirit to give us a much better understanding of our book, many of our own people fight tooth and nail to continue with the interpretation that the Edomites and the other nations have given us. Deuteronomy 28:68, we've been taught, refers to the Atlantic slave trade. And pretty much the vast majority of people have that so fixated in their minds that when we bring other information, that many cannot receive it. Many fight tooth and nail to stick with old dogma that has been given to us before the awakening even began. You got to understand how long has that been the thought? That was before even the awakening began. Was that Deuteronomy 28:68 was referring to slave ships and the Atlantic slave trade, predominantly or pretty much only. I'm here today to show you some more information that will show you that verse is not saying what we've been taught. It's saying it's much deeper than just the Atlantic slave trade. Now you have to understand that our people, the Southern Kingdom, was left over in the Middle East, Africa area. So definitely there will be some people moved from that area over to here as well. But see, it's been taught to us that that's pretty much the only way our people got over here. You have to understand that Psalms 83 and that tumult and that all of the nations coming together to give us lies. Pretty much, if it's something that's been taught to us even before this awakening, you have to really examine what's been told to us. And that goes for everything. They'll definitely they've let us believe the entire time that we're from Africa. So then why wouldn't they come up with an Atlantic slave trade was the way you got over here? Because they're trying to disconnect you from your land. They're trying to disconnect you from biblical prophecy. How their role in biblical prophecy. They're trying to pretty much disconnect you from that. So we're going to get into that today. But I mean, as you can tell now, the awakening is, like I said, is just going super quick. Information is coming out. The Most High is bringing it out quick. And it's pretty much turning our nation, our Hebrew Israelite nation, upside down. Because we've been taught so many different things. And now that we're getting hit with this other information, many are choosing to ignore it and act like they don't see it. But trust me, everyone sees it. And the silence from the others speaks volumes. It's speaking loud and clear. So, when the Bible hits different, when the real Jew reads it, when we give the real breakdown or understanding based not just on one book, but on many different books. Also from many historical accounts that have been hidden up until now as well. The Bible's saying much more than what we thought it was. We're now getting a much better understanding of what was going on with the northern kingdom. That's a huge part of biblical prophecy. When you're looking at prophecy, you can't always look at it just from a southern kingdom point of view. The prophecies are dealing with the northern and southern kingdom. So they have to fit both. All 12 tribes, not just the bottom two. So that's why this understanding is now, you said it's coming out like gangbusters at this point, and it's beautiful to see. I'm even seeing like a lot of Gentiles who are actually, coming to realization of the truth and coming to the realization that they've been lied to, and actually wanting to be part of this as well, which is all the Most High. The Most High, like I said, is going to bring Hebrew Israelites as well as Gentiles, the chosen ones of both groups, together for a time such as this. And what we're going to get into right now is definitely talking about Deuteronomy 28:68, and how it's funny how people will say it will just interject words that aren't there, and they did that with this verse as well, talking about the slave ships. But really, at this point, many Israelites and Gentiles are seeing that all these churches have been teaching nothing but lies. That they've been getting nothing but lies. As you can see, if you just look at the news, this world is falling apart. They're ramping up all of the conflict all over the world in order to get people to still think that, biblical prophecy has been fulfilled over there. I mean, I see plenty of stories on the news, but nobody's jumping. Everybody's like, "Oh, I'm going to do this if you do this again. If you hit me again, if you attack me again, I'm going to do this." And no one ever does anything. So it's like, all these different nations are being very fugazi. These fake tough guys. If you attack my ship one more time, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to attack you. And they do nothing. I'm going to send these missiles out. I'm going to do this, and that. I'm like, and it gets to a point where it's kind of comical. It's like, how many missiles and how many attacks do you have to pretty much absorb before you actually do anything? That shows you how the Most High is in charge. He's not allowing these winds of war to rage until he says so. You should just look at the news and look at how many attacks. I'm like, how many times do you have to get attacked before you retaliate? I know I'm not going to let someone just keep coming up and punching me in the mouth, every other day and not doing anything. That just shows that they're being controlled. No one's going to allow that. No one's going to allow them to just get hit again and again and again and never do anything back. So that just shows you the war won't start until the Most High says the war will start. And he's calling in his last elect at this point. He's calling in his people. He's calling in the Gentiles that he's chosen. And that's why everything isn't accelerating so quickly. That's why this information is coming out so quickly. That's why brethren like myself and Elder Ayul and other brothers are putting videos out quickly, because the Most High is putting that on our spirit, because he knows that time is very short. And that's why this information is now hitting, and it's just mind-blowing information. That's Psalms 83, referring to over here, the hidden ones over here from the last video. I didn't know that. I mean, I didn't realize, I didn't put that connection together. Most High put that connection together while I was making another video. I've seen this information for a while, and I still didn't see that connection about the hidden ones in the fourth part and the people over here. But that's the Most High doing work right now, because we are so close to the end. And then really, this is how it should be. You should be able to see now how, when a real Hebrew who has been chosen by the Most High breaks things down, it's going to be totally different than what you heard before. But it's all going to fit scriptures we've read for years, because the Most High has kept this knowledge and understanding from the people until a time such as this. Now we're going to be able to take scriptures that we've read hundreds of times, and through the Holy Spirit, get way more information than we ever knew before. That's how you tell who the Most High has sent. By the knowledge and understanding and the growth, and how it still fits the scriptures, but it's just so much more rich and in-depth information that we didn't know before. That's why we're going to be getting into Deuteronomy 28 and 68, because we've been told for decades that it's referring to the slave trade, the Atlantic slave trade. But I'm going to show you that it's more than just that. 2 Nephi chapter 1. Main point is verse 11. Yea, he will bring other nations unto them, and he will give unto them power, and he will take away from them the lands of their possessions, and he will cause them to be scattered and smitten. So when we broke the commandments, this is pretty much going through Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 15, the blessings, and then 16 through 68, the curses. When we, get the curses because of idolatry, this is how he was going to bring destruction. As you look at verse 11, yea, he will bring other nations unto them, and he will give unto them power, and he will take away from them the lands of their possessions, and he will cause them to be scattered and smitten. So how he was going to bring the curses on us was by bringing another nation unto us, bringing another nation over the ocean to us, because that ocean was a barrier to keep all the other nations away. So he's going to have to use ships to bring another nation over to us to destroy us. So when you're reading Deuteronomy 28 and 68, it keeps saying with ships, with ships, with ships. Yes, he has to use the ships to bring these other people over here to destroy us. Doesn't necessarily mean the only way that the ships is to just carry us over the waters, but the Most High is bringing death and destruction with ships to us. Let's read that real quick on Deuteronomy. I'm going to show you something real quick. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. And if we go to Egypt means captivity. So he's going to bring us into captivity with ships. Okay? He's going to bring these with ships. He's bringing these people over to pretty much put us into captivity. Didn't say on ships. Didn't say we had to be brought on ships over here. We were already here. So he's got to bring the destruction. The Most High is going to bring the pain. And how's he going to do that? With ships. There was no other way for them to get over here because of the ocean. So they're bringing their ships over here to bring death, destruction, and captivity to our people. Again, let me read that again. Deuteronomy 20:68, and the Most High shall bring thee into Egypt or captivity again, but this time with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. Your homeland is going to be given, your inheritance is going to be given to another. These lands now don't look like anything that we used to have when the Europeans got here. If you read American Holocaust, they are actually describing how beautiful the lands were, how everything was. Nothing looks like that anymore. Doesn't look like that anymore. It will very soon, but at this point, everything is dying. Everything is tainted. All of our land is in a very lowly state. But the Most High is going to renew all of that again. Okay? Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. And no man shall buy you or redeem you. Now it's telling you where this is going to happen. And there, where they came to, where these people came to on their ships, we're going to be sold there. We're going to be sold on our own lands. Let me read it again. And the Most High shall bring thee into Egypt or captivity again with ships, bringing the people over on ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, our land, our inheritance given to another. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies. So they came over here, put us in captivity, and sold us in our own lands to other people. They had places where they was selling us off on the islands. So I actually have information about that as well. Slave markets here on the islands where they would, tear up our families and take us to the slave markets and sell us off on our own lands to different places and ship us off like cattle. So it's going to be there. Where are they coming from? Where are they coming to? They came to our lands, our promised lands here, and there on our promised lands, they're going to sell us. See that? So that's why, we have things like Baruch right here, where it says, Baruch 4, he brought a distant nation down on them, a ruthless nation, speaking a foreign language. They showed neither respect for the aged nor pity for the child. So the Most High is bringing a distant nation, a nation from far. How are they going to get over here? With ships. They're not going to get over here any other way. So with ships, he's bringing this distant nation over, which is a ruthless nation, speaking a foreign language we did not understand. And they showed neither respect for the aged nor pity for the child. How did he bring them over here again? With ships. That was part of biblical prophecy. But in order to hide the fact that they were fulfilling their part of biblical prophecy, they had to make up an entire different story about how all of us were in Africa and all of us were brought over here from Africa to the Americas. See, that's why this is very important. That's why, when you read these scriptures, it's like it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Not all of us were in one place. 10 tribes were already gone. That's why so little time and attention was given to the 10 tribes. Because the world had an agenda. They all had come together. And their agenda was to keep us from knowing who we are, knowing where our land is. And even biblical prophecy and how it's actually being played out and fulfilled is even tainted because Gentiles have had our books and they're the ones that have been setting up everything, for how they want to actually break down biblical prophecy. That's why you're seeing all these conflicts over here in the Middle East, but nothing's really happening. You see a lot of fighting, or supposedly, people shooting missiles off and this and that, but nothing really taking place. But people are still looking over there for if anything happens, it's part of biblical prophecy. But as people are just ignoring the biblical prophecy that is being played out right in front of their faces, right here in our land, in the promised lands. So if you look again here, hold on, where it says, and he will give unto them power, and he will take away from them the lands of their possessions. Okay? He gave them power so they could do things like this. Dum Diversus is a papal bull issued on the 18th of June, 1452, by Pope Nicholas V. It authorized Alfonso of Portugal, or the Fifth of Portugal, to conquer Saracens and pagans and consign them to perpetual servitude. The Most High gave these people this power to do this to our people because the Most High gave them this opportunity and gave them the power because we messed up. But the Most High is now changing all that. The Most High is now coming back to his people. First thing he has to do is clear up the matter with all these lies that have been told to us and that still many of our people are clinging on to and refuse to look at anything from a different perspective. If the Holy Spirit is guiding you, then you have to be open to wherever she's going to take you. You still got all these people that sit there and saying, well, this is what we've been taught the whole time. So therefore, there's no other breakdown. There's no other understanding. If you're stuck and you're not teachable, then you're done. The Holy Spirit is going to be moving us. She's always moving because there's so much information that's been hidden. And if you're not teachable, then you're done. It's a wrap. If you think that there's no new information in the last 20, 30 years, and it's the same breakdowns that they had 15, 20 years ago, are going to be perfectly, aligned with everything that's going on right now, you said you're fooling yourself. They were still teaching that we were Ham, and we were over in Ham's land. So if you're pushing that, then that shows that you have an agenda. And that you can't follow the Holy Spirit, because what if the Holy Spirit now is showing you that this is our land over here, but you're still stuck on a doctrine that you refuse to look at any other information. That's no different than a church. You don't see a bunch of people from churches coming over here trying to break things down to us because they have an agenda. And they know that their agenda doesn't make any sense to people who actually read and learn. Most of these churches and these organizations pretty much keep people who don't read anything, don't know anything, and don't spend any time studying. They can keep those people content because there's nothing in their heads anyways. They have no understanding, and you just make them feel good. You just, appeal to their emotional side. That's all that it is. That's all you need to do. And they'll be back next week with the same, ready to hear the same garbage they heard the week before. But that's even pervasive here, even in the Hebrew Israelite community. There are many that are very content with the same information every single week. If you try to tell them something different, they almost, lose their minds. Now, see, when you change one word, I saw this on social media, and I took a picture of it because I wanted to share it, because this is how they mess with you. You change one word of a verse, and now you make an entire doctrine off of this. It says, Most High will send you back into Egypt or bondage or slavery on ships. There you will be sold to your enemies as male and female slaves. So that one switch of on ships, which isn't what's in the King James Version of the Bible, shows you that there's an agenda. They're trying to make our people, the Hebrews, believe they came from Africa. So when you see something like this and you have one slight little change and you don't actually read the scriptures yourself because you're waiting to be taught by somebody else, this is exactly what you get. Atlantic slave trade, United States of Egypt. Most High will send you back into Egypt or bondage or slavery on ships. But in the actual King James Version, it says, and the Most High shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So he's going to bring you back into captivity, and he's going to use ships to do it because he's going to be bringing the people over the ocean on ships to destroy you in your own land. Do some research, people. Pray to the Most High that he opens your eyes to see and understand what's going on. That was, so we got Baruch right there. You even got Deuteronomy 28:68 kind of telling you about them coming over on ships. And then if you actually go to Luke 21 and 23, 24, but I think it would be 4. Let's go to 23. Actually, 22. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. That's exactly what Columbus was doing. All things that were written were being fulfilled. That's why he used that Baruch to justify him being brought over here. He was fulfilling biblical prophecy. The Most High was letting him, be used for that purpose. And he knew it. 23. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck. In those days there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. So there's distress over here because the Most High brought people to our lands with ships. This was the wrath that he was bringing, and he used ships to bring the wrath. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. So from here, they were going to be sold and led out in captivity all over the place. All right? And to all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Now you look at the book that Columbus wrote, the book about Columbus called Columbus and the Quest for Jerusalem. He was coming over here looking for Jerusalem. And the rest of it is How Religion Drove the Voyages That Led to America. Carol Delaney. Biblical prophecy all over the place, being fulfilled every day. See, now we're like the sheep, but now our Father is behind us. He had turned his back from us, or he turned his face from us for a little while, but now he's back, and he's behind us, and he sent the Holy Spirit to open our eyes again to the truth. I gave you 3 witnesses showing how it substantiates them being brought over here to our lands over here, a ruthless nation with a different language over here, ships being used to bring these people over here. So, like, I want to say it's in Empire Strikes Back when Yoda was talking to Luke Skywalker and told him, you must unlearn what you have learned. They tell you a lot of things in these movies, and that's very true. You must unlearn what you have learned. We have been taught many lies. We have been given doctrine from our enemies. They had a certain doctrine that we came from Africa. We were never here. And they push it even to this day. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Stay blessed, brethren. Shalom.